Miraidon is one of the all-new cover legendaries that was released in Generation 9, and it is not only superior to its counterpart Koraidon, it's one of the absolute strongest legendary Pokemon ever made. This is easily the most powerful Pokemon in Generation 9, and even in Gen 9 National Dex Ubers, a format where Pokemon, moves, and mechanics from previous generations can be used in Gen 9. Miraidon is actually banned. Very few Pokemon have been banned from Ubers over the years. For this to happen, a Pokemon has to be on another level of power. Let's take a look at what makes Miraidon so strong in Gen 9 competitive singles. But first, please be advised that since Miraidon has now switched in, electric terrain is on the field, and the Paradox future form of Sinistea, Iron Mugulus, is now extra dangerous thanks to its boost from its ability Quark Drive. Iron Mugulus might even use its signature move half full against you if you're not careful. The top scientists on the planet have determined, with empirical evidence, that the only defense against this threat is to like this video and subscribe to the JimCool channel. I urge you to listen to their advice for your own safety. Thank you. Miraidon has very similar stats to its counterpart, Koraidon, but with high special attack and special defense, rather than attack and defense. Miraidon has the ability Hadron Engine, which creates electric terrain on the field upon switch in, and also increases Miraidon's special attack stat by 1/3 while electric terrain is active. A directly superior version of the ability Electric Surge, with Miraidon's massive speed and special attack stats, boosted further by its ability, it can outrun and threaten enormous damage against just about anything, even the strongest of special walls. Not to mention that electric terrain of course activates Quark Drive on all of your Paradox Pokemon. Miraidon's signature move Electrodrift is a 100 power electric type special attack that deals 1/3 more damage if it hits super effectively. This is also boosted by the electric terrain that Miraidon creates. This will absolutely destroy pretty much anything, and if a Pokemon resists or is immune to electric, a Stab Draco Meteor will probably take them out. Koraidon may be extremely powerful in its own right, but the fact that electric terrain is also boosting Miraidon's stab damage, and there aren't really any viable terrain setters in the game at the moment to counteract electric terrain. Miraidon's damage output is superior and counterplay is more limited. The high power of Draco Meteor and wide special move pool of Miraidon to handle potential counters also pushes this Pokemon even further. Iron Treads can be a nice pivot against Miraidon with its electric immunity and dragon resistance. Iron Treads also receives a Quark Drive boost from the electric terrain, which can provide enough speed to outrun and take out Miraidon with an Earthquake. But of course, Miraidon also has access to Overheat, which just one-hit KOs Iron Treads. Iron Bundle can outspeed and threaten a KO against Miraidon, but without choice specs, you actually need to Terrastallize Ice to be able to do enough damage to one hit. Miraidon will often defensively Terrastallize to tank this and take out the Iron Bundle, putting them ahead. Ting Liu has been a popular choice in the Ubers metagame because of its great bulk, general utility, and electric immunity, along with Earthquake to threaten Miraidon. But a Draco Meteor will still do considerable damage to Ting Liu and wear it down. And of course, Miraidon also has access to U-turn to simply pivot against Ting Liu and switch to something that threatens it. Even Clodsire, one of Gen 9's best special walls, gets 2-hit KO'd by a Spec's Draco Meteor as it comes in. Blissey is the one thing that can actually take the Electrodrifts and Draco Meteors from Miraidon pretty decently and stop it from destroying everything. Spec's Miraidon still does impressive damage to Blissey, but it's manageable. However, with U-turn, you can always just pivot against the obvious Blissey switch in. And of course, there are still Miraidon sets that 1v1 Blissey. Miraidon also has access to the move Parabolic Charge, a 65 power electric type special attack that heals the user for 50% of the damage dealt. With Calm Mind and Parabolic Charge, you can boost up in the face of Blissey and heal off the Seismic Toss damage, eventually winning the 1v1. Blissey doesn't have access to Toxic anymore, and Thunder Wave doesn't work either since Miraidon is immune to paralysis because it's an electric type. Even if you were to use Sing Blissey to try and put this to sleep, which isn't great to begin with, electric terrain also makes everything on the field immune to sleep. In order to beat this Miraidon set, Blissey actually needs to terrestrialize ground to gain electric immunity. Yes, Blissey needs to terrestrialize to be able to beat a special attacker. Choice Specs is the most popular item on Miraidon at the moment for its massive, immediate damage output and very limited counterplay. But Miraidon has quite a bit of set variety. Calm Mind sets can end games very easily. You can even do a double boosting set with Calm Mind and Agility, with Terra Fairy to give yourself free setup turns, and also to boost the power of a Dazzling Gleam. This is an incredible win condition. A Scarf set allows you to outrun Quark Drive or Photosynthesis boosted enemies, and also enemy Koraidon and Miraidons. And a simple 4 attack set with a heavy duty boots is strong as well, allowing you to ignore hazards, giving you more entry points, and making you more effective as an offensive pivot. Assault Vest has even been used to allow Miraidon to live hits from Choice Specs Iron Bundle and Flutter Main, and catch them by surprise with a KO. At the moment, Gen 9 Ubers has very limited options available, with Koraidon and Miraidon being the only cover legendaries in the game, so it's a little bit easier for teams to prepare themselves for these two, since there isn't much else in the metagame to worry about. But once more legendaries return to the game, handling Miraidon might end up being too much to ask. Even now, there's no true counter to the Pokemon, and teams require a core of 2 or 3 Pokemon to actually handle it. In National Dex Ubers, a custom format where all the legendaries from the past are available to use in Gen 9, Miraidon proved almost impossible to answer, even with many more possible options. This is partially due to the fact that in National Dex you can use Z moves, and Dragonium Z from Miraidon was practically unlivable. But even without Z moves, I believe Miraidon is going to put a real strain on things moving forward. I'm not sure if it will end up being ban-worthy in standard Gen 9 Ubers, but if not, I'm pretty confident it will remain the #1 strongest and most central Pokemon in the Ubers metagame. I have to admit that I've been having fun using Miraidon in Ubers, just because of its absolutely absurd power level, and because it turns the very funny Pokemon Iron Bundle into an absolute monster with a Quark Drive boost. But this Pokemon is without a doubt extremely overtuned, and has almost non-existent counterplay. Try out a Choice Specs Miraidon in Gen 9 Ubers, and go ahead and click Electrodrift or Draco Meteor. Just try it once. It's crazy. What do you think of Miraidon? Who's your favorite of the 2 cover legendaries in Gen 9? And what would you like me to talk about next? Let me know down below in the comments. And thank you for watching. Thank you to the patrons. Become a patron to appear on this funny end screen alongside your favorite Pokemon, and for access to various other rewards such as video requests.
The money got different, cause of what I'm spending. The money got different,
Oh, it's
cause of what I'm
Megaphone!
spending.
Whoa!
The money
KO'd
got
by one
different,
hit! It
cause
scattered
of what I'm
Spike!
spending. The money got different, cause of what I'm spending.